The party walks down the hall. As they open a large pair of double doors, they see 3 leering manticores with toothy grins and sharpened claws staring back at them. Hello, I'm Dr. Whittlesticks, and we're descending to the first of many levels of Undermountain. This level has 2 main groups, the Undertakers and the Xanathar Guild. The Undertakers are failed actors who pretend to be vampires. The Undertakers are currently in a schism between Oktorval and Hara. The gang has many doppelgangers, but in the module it never explains where they come from. In our guide, these doppelgangers were sent by the Xanathar Guild to spy on the Undertakers. They're the ones who caused the schism between the 2 sides, and are now currently playing both of them. They're hoping that the 2 groups will kill each other. At some point, both sides of the schism will fight each other. In this fight, Hara will likely win, leaving Oktorval to flee to level 2. During the fight, the Undertakers will learn about the doppelgangers. This will incite fear and paranoia among the Undertakers. Hara will kill any member she considers to be suspicious. After 1d6 days, only Hara will remain, scared and alone. Monsters will fill the rooms left behind by Hara, but she'll remain in her room. On the other hand, the Xanathar Guild just wants to stop adventurers from going to lower levels and foiling their plans. If in Waterdeep Dragon Heist you use Xanathar as the main villain, the party could be quite familiar with the Xanathar Guild. But anyway, they're kept mostly the same. Piddle and Groin, goblin named a Goblin Groin, are a pair of goblins that just mindlessly wander the dungeon. Instead, we're changing them to being deserters from the Xanathar Guild. If they're found by their adventurers, they'll offer free copper, which is all they have, to bring them to level 2, in which they've heard rumors of there being a goblin bazaar that they can live at. Since the goblins are ex-members of the Xanathar Guild, they can know where their watch posts are, and maybe even know the password on level 2. Well, on to location of the dungeon. There's probably at least 60 rooms, so I'll only be talking about the major changes I have made. This is meant to be a basic dungeon. It will get a lot more interesting as we descend. One of the best changes to this level is that we're completely removing the instant death heart trap. It's completely unfair. Get rid of it. If you read it, you know what I'm talking about. Area 26. This is a small change, but we're going to add a silver dragonborn corpse that is burnt away with a slightly charred book in their hands. The book is X the Mystic's Rules of Dungeon Survival. The book is far too burnt to read anything further. The Dragonborn was unfortunately blasted by a glyph of wooding. 36B. This is where Calm the Weasel is. Imagine being nicknamed by your own party the Weasel. Wow. He's not important, but remember him. Area 37. Did you remember Calm? I hope so. It was only a few seconds ago. If you join the party, then he can explain what happened to him and how the fine fellows of Daggerford stole his +1 short sword and his rings passed down through the generation. They're now on Rex the Hammer. To explain how the party's cleric, Halaster, pushed him into the Grick lair after stealing his rings and weapons. If Kelm finds Halif, he'll advise the party to keep him there, as starvation will set in soon. To Halifgark, everyone's favorite revenant. Halif wants nothing more but to get revenge on his party, but rather than that, he's a kind person. The big thing with Halif is that he doesn't know he's a revenant, believing that his god, Arcane, kept him alive for so long. Unless he dies, Halif can only be convinced that he is a revenant with a DC 25 persuasion check. All important for the module as a whole. This level is fairly boring. That's why today we're doing a double feature and descending down to level 2, the Arcane Chambers. This level is meant for Halaster's apprentices, yet only 2 are alive in the whole level. So the first thing we're going to add is someone to watch over the new apprentices. This is Marambra Nightsteel, one of Halaster's original apprentices. Marambra would rather be doing her own experiments in a laboratory, but she does keep watch over the other mages to make sure they don't kill each other. To answer 2 very important questions, why is Calabash and Trazina the only mages left, and why is there like 10 Nothics and gibbering mountains everywhere? The reason so few mages are left is because about a month ago, almost all the apprentices gathered together and planned to kill Marambra. The apprentices were unaware of Halaster's and Marambra's scrying abilities, so Halaster gathered the apprentices and turned them into Nothics and gibbering mouths as punishment. Then he let them loose on this level to roam and cause havoc. Now, another thing we're going to do is that we're going to add and expand on some of the already existent mages on this level. Calabash is an alcoholic alchemist who was sent to a pocket demiplane for some reason. were changing him to a dwarf of the Malarkin dwarf clan. In fact, he was in charge of brewing ale. Calabash was so good at brewing ale that he somehow made an ale that had the same effects as a potion of longevity. Calabash has been alive for centuries. He watched the Malarkin dwarf clan fall, and the day Halaster arrived with his apprentices. Halaster offered Calabash a chance to learn the Arcane. The reason Calabash drinks a lot is not just because it literally keeps him alive, but because he is utterly upset and disturbed, as he no longer has any family, relatives, or anything even close to that. Trezina is the newest apprentice. She was an artificer who was exploring Undermountain when her party was killed on level 6 by an angry Umberhawk. Halaster saw the lone inventor and decided that he would give her a chance. He gifted Trezina the abandoned copper mine. Now Trezina's only goal is to attempt to get into Dwemercourt above all else. Salamonth, in the book, somehow drowned himself? But in this version, he's a Triton blade singer who was forced from his home after being caught when he assassinated the king. Salamonth fled to the material plane and was captured by Drow. The Drow brought him to the Underdark, where he was sold for a slave till ending up in Skullport. Halaster saw Salamonth's arcane abilities and decided to take him under his wing. Salamonth is very grateful for Halaster, and that's why he didn't join the other apprentices in their failed murder attempt. Salamonth has become very interested in oozes and is trying to alter their shape. Halaster has given Salamonth a miniature orb of ooze from the Cavern of Ooze to play with. And lastly, Jin Exeril is a master of the lower planes and a well-known demonologist. She was visiting Avernus when Halaster transformed the other apprentices. She's the one who brought the Mezzoloth, who was gifted to Halaster. The Mezzoloth is named Crix and has now taken over all the Nothics. First change is that in Area 2B, we're going to add a potion of longevity and a still working pail of alchemist's tools that Calabash used to use. 2C. In this room is a specter that is Calabash's wife. This was his failed attempt to save her when she became ill. Hidden within the stone in a loose brick, 4 bottles of Malarkin wine. These can be spotted with a DC 15 perception check. The wine can be sold for upwards of 250 gold. 2D. Why is Calabash in a pocket dimension? Well, he isn't. Now he had a circle that leads to the ethereal plane, Calabash's way of speaking to the people of his clan. He brought a bottle of wine, and when some adventurers crossed out the wounds, he was stuck in the ethereal plane. Area 7C, Trezina's laboratory. We're adding a slight change in that we're adding Halaster Blackcloak to the mix. When the party enters, Trezina is trying to convince Halaster to send her to Dwemercourt. When the party walks in, Halaster will make her an offer. Kill these adventurers, and you may go to Dwemercourt. If the party kills Trezina, he'll apologize for the party, and if they have a wizard, Halaster may even offer them the lab before teleporting away. B10. This room is still flooded, but the water can't leave here because Salamonth has produced magical glyphs that stop the water from leaving the room. Salamonth is kinder than many of the other mages, and will warn the party of them in their studies. Quick footnote here. The ooze, the 30-foot gelatinous cube, it's not a Duergar skull that enlarged it that much. It is actually the crystal that Halaster gave Salamonth. Just almost forgot to add that. In Area 13G, this area is where Crix the Mezzoloth is about to kill Vex the Hammer. If Halif is in the party, he'll rush into action to kill Vex. The Mezzoloth is tired after a wounding fight with Rex. Crix will try to parlay, and offering information to be left alone. Area 22B. The sign now reads, Brewers Only, by orders of Calabash. Area 22C. The Zombie Beholder was created when Halaster asked for a potion of longevity for a beholder that was growing to old age to guard level 22. The ale had the opposite effect on the beholder, aging it to death. The beholder then immediately began a new life as an undead zombie beholder. All of the zombie beholder's vats can produce 2d6 gallons of non-magical hard ale. Area 23A. Halaster has not defaced these carvings. In fact, he's made so that they're immune to the passage of time. Area 23B. Area 23 and 24 are both owned by Jin. For Area 23B, we're getting rid of the statues of skeletal dragons, and instead we're adding 5 statues of demon lords. Baphomet, the Demogorgon, Grazit, Orcus, and Yunobu. The walls of this chamber are a moving mosaic of the Blood War. If someone touches these magical mosaics, everyone in the room is turned into a devil fighting in the Blood War. Each player starts their turn as a bearded devil. Roll 4d8 plus 16 hit points. The party is surrounded by a Bulazal and 8 Dretches. If the party wins, they're rewarded with a Mace of Disruption that appears at their feet. Losing the fight causes them to take 4d6 psychic damage. Area 24. This is Jin's workspace. She is currently exploring the lower planes. She's bound to Balgura to guard her room. The demon has cast a Sky Self and appears as a purple-skinned tiefling in grey robes. The demon says it's Jin and warns the players to leave, but suffer the wrath of the infinite levels of the abyss. The tiefling skeleton in this room has been removed. Feel free to put it somewhere else in the dungeon. Area 25H. We're getting a Halaster 2, Electric Boogaloo. Instead, we're adding a Death Kiss. This creature was created by Netherskull on level 13, during his attempts to become a Death Tyrant. Halaster put this creature under a permanent Gaz spell, I don't know how you say that. Petrified the creature, and if anyone really annoys Halaster, he'll send the Death Kiss to hunt after them. 26A. Mimbra Nightsteel has used this room to hold her test subjects. She has 2 trained owlbearers named Curtis and Calgary. They will attack anyone who enters. There's also 7 cages, 3 of which hold Nothics. 26B. Mimbra Nightsteel has added a Glyph of Warding with a 6th level magic missile to blast whoever opens the door. She's also added a Wand of Fireball with 5 charges in it. The wand does not regain any charges after the 5 of them are used. Area 26D. This area is where Mimbra holds her explosive experiments. The ground here is burnt and charred. The whole room smells like ash. An imp named Belfegor is in this chambers. He's Mimbra's scribe. He was a gift from Jin, and will talk to the players, hoping to hear interesting tales of their adventure. He knows all the apprentices by name, and also about the recent falling out that has happened. This is Mimbra Nightsteel's room. She's an Archmage with 250 HP, and a new ability and new spell list in the description below. As well as in the description, you will find my entire script, including all the way 6 parts, in which you can use in your own game. As long as the players respect her, she'll converse with them about Halaster, Undermount, and her own experiments. If she likes the players enough, she'll give them a box delivered to Rantantar and Skullport, another one of Halaster's apprentices. The box has a Glyph of Warding with a 5th level fireball. This is a common joke between the 2 of them, hoping that the adventurers will be curious enough to open up the box. If the party delivers an unopened package to Skullport, Rantantar rewards them with a Ring of Spell Storing, with 2 scryings and 1 lightning bolt spell already in them. Well, that's it for level 1 and 2 of Dungeon the Mad Mage. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.